Hi, my name's Deputy Dietz. I'm a patrol deputy with the Merced County Sheriff's Office. While you guys probably know what law enforcement does, I'm just going to kind of talk about a few things that I do on a day-to-day basis. We get a plethora of calls. They can be coroner calls, they can be assaults, they can be social work calls, they can be mental health calls. So kind of our day-to-day is different every day, and every call is different. If you're looking for a career in law enforcement, some things you could be doing right now is make sure you're doing well in school, not getting in trouble at home. You could take some of the forensic classes that they offer at the local high schools. When you're old enough, I would suggest going on a ride-along. That's when you get to ride in the passenger seat with a deputy or with a police officer, and you get to see what they do day to day, because sometimes you might think it's something that you're interested in, and then you realize, like, oh dang, that's a long 12-hour shift, and they deal with a lot of different stuff. Some other things you can do to get into a position in law enforcement is maybe start taking classes at the college. I know when you're in high school, to go to Merced College, the classes are actually free. So that's really an awesome way to take advantage of those classes. When you're old enough, I would suggest going on a ride-along with a law enforcement officer. If it is something that you choose to do, you can go through the POST Academy. POST stands for Peace Officers Standardized Training. So depending on what kind of course you go through, you can go through an extended program, which is modular based, or you can go through the extensive program, which is 6 months, and that's 6 to 8 months, and it's just going through the classes straight. You'll go every day, you'll have training, you'll go through a physical aspect, you'll go through shooting, you'll go through DTAC, which is defensive tactics, interview, like they'll teach you everything you need to do to become a law enforcement officer. Once you go through the POST Academy, then you go through the hiring process at an agency. Once an agency picks you up, you'll go through their FTO program. FTO stands for field training. Field training, it depends on what agency you go to. It can range anywhere from 4 to 6 months or longer than that. And then you'll be in the car with somebody and they'll basically tell you how to do the job. So kind of about my path into law enforcement, I started college and I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and I got to the point where I had to do the classes with the students in them, and I couldn't do it. I was like, these kids are so annoying. And then I switched my major to criminal justice, and I had put in for a job at the county to be an office assistant, and I got a call like a week later from the sheriff's office offering me a position, or offering to interview me for a position. I ended up getting the position and I absolutely loved it. I worked in the office, I helped with backgrounds and hiring, and more people would come into the office and talk to me about what they did, and I just really thought it was cool. And I was also very nosy, and I was like, I want to know, I want to be out there, I want to be helping people. Law enforcement can be a really hard job. You deal with a lot of things that you don't expect to deal with, and your emotions like vary. You can be on a call where, you know, kids are injured, or you know, they were just in a really bad accident, and then 5 minutes later you have a call because somebody stole peaches off a peach tree. So it can, your emotions range vastly every day, but it's also really cool because people remember, you helped me when my dad was hurt. Like, you were there for my family when things weren't going right. Nobody calls law enforcement on a good day, so that's kind of a sucky part of it, but you can also be the one that helps them and they remember you. You can leave a good impression on them. So something that I really love about my job is that it is always changing. Case law is always changing. You're always learning something new. You're always learning how to do something better. Like, there's never a day that is going to be the same, ever. You might get 2 theft calls and they're going to be completely different every time. I also think it's cool that you can always use your life experience on a call. I was on a call last week. This little boy was 7 years old. You'd think I'd have nothing in common with him, but my little brother also plays Fortnite, so I was talking to him about Fortnite. He was showing me all his dances, and it's things like that. Like, you don't realize how much knowledge you have until you can apply it to your job, and I think that's something really cool. A piece of advice I would share is just to take a step back. Don't be selfish. You know, there's other people that are going to be affected by your decisions. I see that every day. Even as simple as somebody speeding down the street. Really, going 10 miles an hour faster might get you somewhere a second faster, and it's not worth it because you get in an accident, you could kill somebody. Just really try to think about how your actions affect other people. One thing for me that I try to remember, my very first call as a deputy, I went to somebody's house and I told them that their daughter had died. and already that's an extremely emotional situation. But I knew that they knew as soon as they saw me that something bad had happened, and that's something I would never want to put my family through. I never like to deliver bad news, and that's just something that I keep in the back of my mind. You know, it can always be you. You're one decision away from being the person that you're helping.